All right, welcome back to the Dolphins Country podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about life after Tyreek Hill's injury. As far as this season goes, the outlook of the team right now, post-Tyreek. We will also be answering some questions I put up on my Instagram story a couple days ago. Fans Q&As, because I'll be answering those today. And I can't answer all of them, obviously, but I'll answer a few of them that I thought were noteworthy that we could definitely talk about here. Before we dive into this podcast episode, make sure to like and subscribe. We are on YouTube and Spotify at Dolphins Country Pod, whichever you get your stuff, whether it's YouTube or Spotify. We're on both. But yeah, let's get into it now. We'll start out with, I can just segue right into it. How will the offense change without Tyreek Hill? I touched on this briefly on Monday night after the game because I had assumed that it was a season-ending injury, and we can now confirm that it is a season-ending injury, obviously. We didn't know if it was a leg injury, an ankle, a knee. We see that obviously it's a dislocated knee, which could mean a bunch of different things. It can mean there's torn ligaments in the ACL, the MCL, the PCL. It is confirmed that the ACL was torn. A few other things were torn as well, so he obviously had to get surgery. Now, the good news is, if there is good news here, the good news is it did not take multiple surgeries to get it done. I think the fear initially was it's going to take a couple surgeries. It's going to be a long, long rehab process because there's a lot of things that went wrong. But no, it was just one surgery. They fixed everything that was in there. He's already walking, which is obviously a good sign. Just a day out of surgery, I believe, day or 2 days out of surgery. So Tyreek, he's got a long rehab process ahead of him for sure. But it appears that it was not as bad as it could have been. Which, it could have been everything got torn, a bunch of different surgeries had to happen, which that wasn't the case. So that's obviously somewhat of a silver lining, or somewhat of a glimmer of hope. But obviously he is out for the season. We knew that he's going to be shut down for the season. They put him on the IR, obviously. Hopefully he will be ready for next season. But as far as just this season goes, how will the offense look without him? It's going to be missing a big void. I can't sugarcoat it. This is a big explosive part of our offense. It's not like we have a Tyreek Hill replacement. Malik Washington's a nice player. Obviously gives us special teams versatility. Taj Washington, D. Eskridge, the same thing. They kind of give you that speed element with the return game ability. But none of those guys frighten defenses the way that Tyreek Hill does. There's no one's game planning around D. Eskridge and Taj Washington and Malik Washington. Even Jalen Waddle to an extent. None of these guys are Tyreek Hill. I know they have all the confidence in the world in Jalen Waddle, but these guys just aren't Tyreek Hill. It's just as simple as that. Even Tyreek Hill at age 32 or age 31 or 32, they're not Tyreek Hill. So it's going to be very tough for them to fill in his shoes. No doubt about it. But, the offense has to kind of, in my opinion, go back to a little bit of the way they looked in 2021. This was obviously before Mike McDaniel got there, but at least Mike McDaniel, we know he can scheme guys open. Like, this is not like pulling teeth with the Brian Flores regime where we had co-offensive coordinators. Nobody could create separation. That was infamously to his first year. He had Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, Matt Collins, just guys who couldn't separate. He's got guys who can separate. He's got speed guys all over the field. Now, without Tyreek Hill, we have to go back to, I believe, the way we played in 2021. Remember, we started 1-7, but we rattled off 8 of 9 to end the season. We played fine offensively that year, although it was mostly a defensive takeaway, opportunistic style of playing. We still need to be that, obviously, because you're losing an element of explosiveness on your team. So we need to get back to that. I think just the easy completions, getting Tua on the run, rolling out. We talked about it on Monday, how they did a little bit of what Tua did in the early stages of his career, where they got him on the run with bootlegs, throwing to his strong side. So they can obviously do that. They're still good at moving the launch point. Obviously, you have an O-line that's banged up, and you're without 3 starters. So you can certainly do that still, but, there's a big void with no Tyreek Hill. You have to play a certain way now, which is, less explosive plays, take what the defense gives you, which they've been doing a little bit to the most part, but there's just guys that have to step up. It's as simple as that. Guys have to step up in absence of Tyreek Hill. You bring in Cedric Wilson again, who I liked from that 2023 season. Tua also trusted him in the red zone, just throw it up to him. He's a big body receiver. So you have that, but the other guys around him have to step up. Waddle has to be incredible, like another notch. Darren Waller has to be used a lot now, probably. At the tight end positions, because you just have to target other guys now. You can't just rely on these. We had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You throw those guys the majority of the game, along with Malik Washington. Now you got to get the tight ends involved. I know they always get A-Chain involved, but you got to get everybody involved at this point. Everyone's got to step up big time. So now the big question here is, and I got a question here, has Tyreek played his last down with the Dolphins? This is hard. I think my answer probably should be yes. Like he probably has played his last down with the Dolphins. Um, although I'm not willing to say it like concretely, but the logical answer would be probably yes. I mean, we were already kind of on shaky grounds at the end of last season, this entire offseason, heading into this season. It's like, what is Tyreek Hill's long-term future with the team? Probably not. He's probably not finishing his career here. I mean, that's kind of what the general consensus was. And now, obviously, this possibly career-threatening injury happens to Tyreek. But I'm not willing to say for sure it's his last snap as a Dolphin because apparently he does want to stay here. I mean, Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, mentioned after the game and before Tyreek got surgery, he's like, hey, he still wants to be here and he wants to come back. He loves his team. I don't doubt any of that. But then at the end, Rosenhaus obviously said if there's a number that makes sense that we can bring him back with, then obviously we're going to try and work and make that happen. But I'm just inclined to believe that won't happen. I'm just inclined to believe that ultimately Tyreek knows this is probably his last chance at getting a championship when he comes back. The money at this point is probably going to be all around the same with every team that's looking to bid for him. After next year, there's really no guaranteed money, I don't believe, on Tyreek. So there's no reason for us to keep him after next year. And obviously we don't know how he's going to be progressing after the injury heading into next year. So I think there's a good chance that next year he may not be on the team with all those things outlined. And maybe this team isn't close to competing. And it's simply one of those things where it's like, hey, Tyreek, you got a great 4 years with us, but ultimately, and really just 3 years, because obviously this is his fourth year with the team, and it unfortunately did not go more than 4 games. But it could be one of those situations where we're not very competitive, or we just simply move on, and maybe he moves on to greener pastures, whether that's the Chiefs or whatever. I mean, we've seen the rumors this offseason of Tyreek possibly being on the move. I mean, heck, he wanted out in January. That's well documented. So we'll see. I mean, his opinion can change from now. I know now he wants to be with the team. Right now, at this current moment in time, he wants to stay with the Dolphins. Whether that's reciprocated by the Dolphins, whether we want him back, or whether he wants to still be here come negotiation time, which is months and months away, who knows? Ultimately, I do think we'll see Tyreek on the field again. I don't think he's going to retire. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Tyreek Hill. But I am inclined to believe that probably, if and when we see him again, it probably won't be with the Dolphins. I have a hard time imagining that it will be. I hope it is. I hope we're still competitive, and I hope that he comes back and he's better than ever. That's my obviously fan optimism hope. But I mean, the logical response here would probably be that we don't end up working it out with Rosenhaus, the agent, who's done us before with a few other guys that just ultimately it didn't work out. I mean, that's happened before plenty of times, so it's not an outlandish thing to say. But I ultimately do think that Tyreek will probably finish his career elsewhere. Where, I don't know. I'd like it to be here, but I think it's maybe his last down with the Fins. I'm not willing to say it concretely, obviously, because I don't know. And apparently right now he wants to be back, and I want him back. I think the team should want him back. Because I think ultimately, yes, while he is a distraction, he's still an unbelievable player. And if he still is an unbelievable player when he comes back from his injury, which is all things that are TBD, and if he's still, if McDaniel's still here and the offense is still speed, then they could still use Tyreek Hill. I mean, you never know. So maybe he would still be here. I don't know, but that comes down to me. There could be a different GM here in a couple months. There could be a different coach in a couple months, and they would have no allegiance to Tyreek Hill. So the logical answer probably would be yes. They probably would more likely clean house, not even clean house, but probably just get rid of Tyreek and bring in a different regime, possibly. I mean, Tua is not safe. We don't know, but I'm going to lean no, but I don't know for sure. Next question here is, how far can the Dolphins realistically go this season with the schedule they have shaping up? So this is an interesting one because people have been talking about it. The schedule, it looked more daunting than it really is right now. I mean, I thought the easiest part of the schedule was the first 2 weeks. We get Colts, and then the Patriots at home. We've dominated them. The Colts, obviously, I didn't think would be any good. So I was like, okay, you can get to a 2-0 start, and then, you could talk yourself into, a nice start here. You get the Jets, possibly get a 3-1, and the Panthers possibly get a 4-1. Right now, we're at 1-3. So it has not gone exactly the way that I envisioned it or other Dolphins fans envisioned it. But right now, you got Carolina up next. Then you got the Chargers, who are dealing with a bunch of offensive line injuries. They got Joe Alt is out. Rashawn Slater's out for the entire season. Najee Harris is out for the entire season. So the Chargers are dealing with some injuries, but they are undoubtedly a better team than us. But so you got Carolina next. You got the Chargers after that at home. Then you got Cleveland, and then you got Atlanta. So right now we are 1-3. I mean, these are winnable games, no doubt about that. I'm not going to pretend like they're not winnable games, but so were the first few, and the Dolphins didn't win those games. So I think it really boils down to the Carolina game this week. And it's kind of a cop-out answer, but if we don't win this game, if we don't beat Carolina, then you can't pencil in any of these other wins. There's no way. I mean, if you don't beat the Panthers, then you can't expect to rattle off a bunch of wins after that. That's just not really reality based. It's not based in reality. Like if you can't beat Carolina, you're probably not gonna beat the Chargers. You're probably not gonna beat the Browns. You're not gonna beat Atlanta. Like those are just teams that are like Carolina's bad. So if you can beat Carolina, get to 2-3, then we can start to talk about it. Because then maybe you beat the Chargers on. They have to come cross country to Miami. It's an early kick, so maybe that's conceivable. But to me, it's just if you're talking playoffs, it's a really an uphill battle. I think that they have to, at minimum, really they have to be 4-3 heading into this stretch. I mean, they have Panthers, Chargers, Browns. If you can win those 3 games, it'll be 4-3, and then there's an actual path here because this 4-game stretch after that, you got at Atlanta. Atlanta's sneaky good at home. They're a different team on the road. Like if we had Atlanta in Miami, I'd feel much more confident about that. But going to Atlanta, I'd probably favor them. Then you got the Ravens coming to town. If Lamar Jackson just plays in that game, we're going to probably lose. Then you got Buffalo. That's probably a loss. Then you got the Washington Commanders. So, I mean, these are a lot of mobile quarterbacks we have to deal with here in a 3-game stretch. So that's a tough little November there. But if you're 4-3, then you set yourself up to, okay, all you have to do is go 2-2 in those games against Atlanta, Buffalo, Baltimore, and Washington. If you get into 2-2, then you're 6-5 heading into that last stretch against the Saints, Jets. So there's a world if you're 6-5 that you can possibly get there to 10 wins. Possibly. You'd have to go 4-1 down the stretch. It still would be difficult. But if you're 6-5 heading into that last 5 games, there's a world where it can happen. Heading into those last 6 games, I should say. So you have to go 4-2. But there's a world. But you have to go to 4-3, and that means winning the next 3 games. So if you can't beat Carolina, then that's, forget about rattling off the wins after that. Even if you beat the Browns and even if you beat the Chargers, like there's not really. If you can't beat Carolina, it's gonna be a very, very uphill battle. So like, and just 1-4 teams don't make the playoffs. That's like not like if you're 1-4, you're not making the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs. 1-4 teams don't. 2-3, you give yourself a chance, but you still have to be almost perfect on the stretch. I mean, you have to really get to because you got tough games on the. I mean, you still don't. It's not like you're 2-3 and you're out of the woods. Like you still have the Chargers up next after that. You got Baltimore, you got Buffalo, you got Washington, you got at Pittsburgh late in the year in December. You got Tampa Bay. There's not like free wins. And if you're 1-4, then there's no chance. If you're 2-3, you have to still be able to rattle off a couple more wins after that to get yourself into contention. It's like, okay, now we can make a push to the end. Because if you're even if you're 2-3, you could lose the next couple games. And then we saw last year, 2-5, 2-6, we're not making the playoffs. You can't dig yourself out of that hole. It's just too difficult. So they have to get, to me, to 4-3, which means win the next 3 games, which means beat Carolina, beat the Chargers, and beat Cleveland for me to actually think, okay, they could make the playoffs. 4-3 would be like, okay, we can start to talk about it. But at 1-3, it's a long ways away. You have to be able to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And we're not really supposed to beat the Chargers. Like that's a win that like it's a winnable game, but I don't think they're gonna beat the Chargers. I mean, even with the Chargers injuries, I think they're the better team than us. I think they got the better coach with Jim Harbaugh. I think they have the better defensive coordinator with Jesse Minter. So that's a tough one. I don't think they would beat the Chargers, but you got to beat Carolina first to even thinking about it. Like, let's take it week by week. It's basically what it is. When you're 1-3, you can't think long term. You got to think short term. Take it 1-0, go 1-0 each week, and then maybe you give yourself a chance heading into the last stretch after Thanksgiving. But we'll see. Next question here is: can we trust Anthony Weaver given how horrendous this defense has looked through 4 weeks? I don't think you can trust anybody at this point. I mean, there's no one that you really could trust on the entire coaching staff, really. I guess the special teams has looked better the last couple, or not even the last couple weeks, just last week. No, there's really nobody you can trust right now. I mean, I would give Weaver a little bit of like I wouldn't give him too much slack because right now he was dealt a pretty tough hand. You got a lot of injury riddled pass rushers on your squad. They have stayed healthy so far this year. The linebacking core is whatever. The secondary wasn't even really improved upon this entire offseason. We just kind of went in here. It's like, okay, here you go. Rasul Douglas, 10 days before the season starts. Have him. Here you go. Jack Jones traded for him or signed him, I believe, in early August. So like right before training camp or actually like during training camp, I believe we got him. So we haven't really had these guys for like too long to even, and Minkah Fitzpatrick, you traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick during training camp or maybe a week before training camp. So it's, he was dealt a pretty tough hand. Like not a lot of these guys have like continuity of like being here a bunch of years. I mean, Zach Sealer, obviously, it's a bunch of young rookie defensive linemen with Jordan Phillips and Kenneth Grant. And then you got the pass rushers with Chop Robinson. Is year 2 for Chop Robinson. Yeah, you expect a leap there, but I mean, it's not like the best defensive personnel in the world. I mean, we knew this heading into the season. The Dolphins had some defensive personnel issues. Now Weaver's had some weird calls. I don't love dropping your pass rushers back into coverage as much as he does. I'm a firm believer in you can get to the quarterback by rushing your best pass rushers. Like your best pass rushers have the best chance of getting at the quarterback because they're pass rushers. So to rush the passer, I want the pass rushers doing that by and large. So I don't want them dropping back in coverage. They're not coverage guys. They are pass rushers. So please rush the passer. Nonetheless, I'm not going to harp on that. But like it's tough. Like I think the game Monday was weird. I think he called a pretty good game, and then late in the game you get up 14, and it was a lot of prevent, which I get it. Keep everything in front of you. But the way that the Jets passing attack was, why give them easy completions? They weren't. Now you're getting them in the rhythm. Like they weren't able to complete anything really all game, and then you just go back and drop. You can see how far back the safeties are. I mean, they're dropping everybody back, just giving away free completions, free 10 yards. And then at the end, you go all out blitz and leave Garrett Wilson one-on-one, and he catches a touchdown to really make it interesting there. So it's like, if you're going to go prevent the whole drive, fine, whatever. But then don't at the end go all out cover zero blitz. Like that's like, no. And not when you're up 14. When you're up 14, you don't do that. You don't go cover zero. You can dial up a blitz, but don't send everybody. So there's a little bit of whatever. I mean, it's overall, he called a pretty good game on Monday night. Not that the Jets passing attack, it's not vaunted by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they don't really complete many passes. So that wasn't really a true test of like, oh, great game by Weaver. The Jets haven't been throwing the ball well against anybody besides Pittsburgh week 1. That was like their lone game there. But yeah, I'm gonna have to see more out of Weaver before I like am okay with him being this stamped great coordinator. I don't know. Like I can't trust any of these guys. So the answer there would be no, we can't trust Weaver, but I'm not gonna say he's bad because I think he was dealt a pretty tough hand. But nonetheless, right now it's a wait and see. It's 4 weeks, so you don't really know. But from what we've seen through 4 weeks, the defense has been absolutely abysmal. I mean, they're not forcing punts, and until Monday night, they had not forced a single takeaway. So that is pretty much the bottom of the barrel as far as defense is concerned. When you're not forcing punts or takeaways, like you're pretty much just an awful unit. So yeah, we'll see on that one. But that's a few Q&As here. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I will be back after Sunday's game. I'll actually be at the game on Sunday in Carolina. So I'm going to be going to that game. So I'll probably have a podcast up later. I'll probably get back later that night. So I might have one up that night, Sunday night. If not, it'll definitely be up Monday. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.